So let's talk about the Ghana Library Authority. They are embarking on a project to improve reading culture among the youth. The authority is an agency under the Ministry of Education and mandated by law to establish, equip, maintain and manage public libraries in Ghana. On this project, they are joining forces with UNICEF to establish youth engagement centers across Ghana to create a safe and inclusive environment, both physically and digitally, where young people, including the disadvantaged groups, can benefit. Well, in studio with us and to help us understand all of this is the Chief Executive himself, Hayford Xiao, who's joining us live here on the Pulse. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to the program. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
So let's first of all talk about this project that you're doing to establish the centers. Tell us first of all about the centers and what purpose it was.
Okay, thank you. So the Ghana Library Authority, as you know, we've been working over the past 72 years to connect Ghanaians to knowledge resources. In 2009, we started a project to be able to connect young people to relevant learning resources using massive open online course platforms, including Coursera, Absa Ready to Work, and Udemy. And so out of this project, which was supported by Commonwealth of Learning, we recognize that there's a lot of gaps that exist in terms of people that are able to assess the course and their completion rate. And one of the key factors that we recognized was reason for young people being able to complete most of the courses was the fact that some people were assessing the courses on their phones and that they did not have laptops or access to desktop to complete some assignment to finish. So what we have done is that we talked to UNICEF under their Generation Unlimited project to work with us to be able to make some of our various public library spaces connected digitally so that young people can be able to come into those spaces, use some of our computers, connect to free Wi-Fi, and be able to have access to some of these learning resources and use our computers to finish their assignment. Which means that, I mean, if you start a course even with your phone, at least you can come also to the library spaces. So basically these spaces are these, digitally connected spaces within public libraries across the country that young people can come in and be able to use some of our equipment.
We'll talk about how unique these centers will be, but obviously we need to know about the numbers and what your target is.
Yes.
Which communities are you, or regions perhaps, are you going to be reaching out to looking at this project?
So in 2022 today, we've managed to help about 40,000 young people, but for this year the target is only for 10,000 people, and these are places that have been selected to as youth engagement centers. It's based on the historical information that we have, where a lot of people that are benefiting from our opportunity have been coming from.
So you have the areas mapped out?
We have the areas mapped up already. So we have Tema, we have Accra. So Tema, they're using the Tema Library. Right. So Accra, they're using Accra Central Library. Cape Coast is using the Cape Coast Library. Sekondi, of course, the Western Regional Library is the center. Ashanti region, when you go to the Cultural Center, we have the Ashanti Regional Library there. We have Wabo, Gatanga, Temale, and then Winneba. So these are the centers across the country that people who are already enrolled and want to use these spaces to complete their assignments can go.
The perception out there is that if you look at our libraries these days, well, it appears that it's not all that modern, and so it's not fit for purpose. Will this project help to change, refurbish some of these existing?
I think that is probably a historical information you are referring to.
So it's not the case.
Since 2018, public libraries in Ghana has transformed significantly. Those were the days where you have books that were torn out, or when you're accessing relevant content, you couldn't find them. At least from 2018 to today, most of our libraries are already connected. Working with Vodafone Ghana Foundation and GIFIC, we've managed to equip most of our centers with computers. We've worked with Bouquet International Get Fund to be able to stock most of our public libraries across the country with relevant learning resources. Renovations has been conducted both even outside the public space environment. I mean, at the time the new board and management took over in 2018, there were only 61 libraries across the country. We currently have 109 public libraries across the country.
So you've added over 40?
48, yes.
That's significant. But
yes.
we don't know about this much about it.
Yes.
Do you think it's because the public are not really interested in your activities?
No, I think those that are interested to access public libraries recognize the significant impact we've made in terms of reaching people with our footprint. And so, if you look at even the data with respect to library visits, I mean, 2016 library visit was just less than 400,000. Okay. Currently, we are recording over 1.2 million visits annually. So a lot of people have gotten to know the significant impact and you know how these spaces have become really attractive for them to go and sit and learn. I mean, senior high school libraries across the country, almost 80 of them have been benefited from some of our intervention in terms of renovation at our senior high school transformation program.
Impressive, impressive. We know that this government, the Vice President, has always told us about digitalization. How are you incorporating that into your activities as well? There's a belief that we should get somewhere where, wherever you are across this country, you should be able to access the the resources that you have at the Ghana Library Authority. So are you working towards that?
So what I call is democratization of access to learning resources.
Oh, you started already?
Oh, yes. So 2019, then Minister of Education gave us a policy direction. We established a digital library portal, which is zero-rated by, the biggest telecom companies in Ghana, MTN, Vodafone, our zero-rated platform. In 2020, when COVID happened, the Ministry of Education had to rely on the Ghana Library Authority to deploy some of these learning resources that had been developed by SENLOS and Ghana Education Service. So when you download the Ghana Library app, you can find tutorial videos that has been developed by expert teachers in Ghana that are available for people to be able to access this content on our platform. This is beside the fact that you have electronic books, you have audio books also on the platform. So strategically, we've managed to really, enhance access to learning resources, leveraging on technology platforms that we've created. On our website, library.gov.gh, you can go on, and for the first time, every Ghanaian can actually get a library card.
And that's what the way I was looking at it, because technically speaking, you are in every home, everywhere, once you have the power of the internet. But the fear is you're not reaching out to the people.
We have a solution for them. Right. So in 2018, we brought back mobile library services. So the mobile library service, we currently have 10. This year, Senate is adding one mobile library van to our network, so it will be 11 in total. Where these vans goes into rural communities, for example, over the COVID period, UNICEF, for example, funded a lot of work that we did that allowed us to be able to send books resources to communities, rural communities, where people were having access to learning resources when people had this lockdown and were home and students were not going to school and all that. So at least most districts using, because of the power of the mobile library service, we've managed to reach a lot of homes.
Reading makes the man, definitely. It's a saying, but where we are now and having assessed particularly the youth, there's this trend where, in fact, we're even learning at KNUST that some are even using their fees for betting and all of that. Is it the case, from your personal assessment, that the reading culture is generally dwindling across the country?
I actually don't believe in that theory. And it is because from where I sit, I see a lot of people accessing my learning resources. If I see from 2016, 2017, 2018 coming, the rate of visit to public libraries and what we are recording now in terms of about 1.2 million visits annually. If we continue to stock our libraries with the relevant learning resources, continue to leverage on technology to be able to make sure access become readily available to everybody whenever they want to read. There's a school of thought, by one researcher called Stephen Krashen, that, create a conducive environment, make the resources available to the children, and automatically they will build a culture of reading. Historically in Ghana, since the 50s and 60s and 70s, Ghanaians we've never been a people who read. Ghana has never been a reading nation. And so...
Some will take you on this.
Yes, because, I have the record. Right, I have the data. If you look at our annual report from the 50s to 60s, most of the library visits that were recorded, library membership, were by the people, the foreign indigents, the foreigners that were living in Ghana. They were patronizing, our various libraries. That is why, actually, in the late 60s to 70s, there was a research that was conducted by the Ministry of Education, British Council, and the Ghana Library to really understand why Ghanaians are not reading. And one of the outcomes was that we really have a very bad school library system. And so it led to the setup of what we call the Schools and College Library Department. The idea is that provide support to colleges of education, let them understand the essence of reading, equip the colleges of education with libraries and the resources. Now, when they come out and they are in schools teaching, they will be transferring that lifestyle or that habit of reading to the schools.
Right.
And then you also help the schools with technical assistance and provision of infrastructure so that they can be able to have access
So
to.
that's an approach you're working on.
So that is a systemic approach we are now adopting to be able to address these issues.
Because we don't have time, in a minute, there's COVID. We are moving out of the COVID era. What lessons have you learned? How are you using that to inform your policy position going forward? Briefly in a minute, and then your message to Ghanaians on this project you're in.
Okay, so Ghana Library Authority, of course, we understand the importance of technology in being able to connect Ghanaians to learning resources, and that is why the United Nations Public Service Award recognized us last year as one of the public agencies in the world that is leading transformation. And this was significantly also because of the work that we did over the COVID period, where we recognized that technology can be leveraged on to connect Ghanaians to knowledge resources. But at the same time, you also have tools like your mobile library service, where you can be able to reach out to people that don't have access to these learning resources. And you understand the issue you raise is that data, they don't have data. That is why we've also worked with telco partners to be able to zero it in these platforms.
And I hear you've won an award, international award?
Yes, so that's what I mentioned, one of them. This is the United Nations Public Service Award. So they informed the Permanent Mission of Ghana in New York about that award, and we went to Dubai to pick it up. Earlier on also in the year, 2021, London International Book Fair Excellence Award also declared as the Library of the Year.
Let's hope for better times to come. That's the CEO for the Ghana Library Authority, Hey Fotiao, talking to us.